Housing, one of the basic necessities of life, is becoming increasingly challenging to afford nowadays. By just mentioning the word, images of rising graphs and ceiling-breaking prices will come to mind. But what is causing all this mind-blowing increase? In just 7 years, prices of housing have increased from 12,000 to 22,000 in Hong Kong, which is almost double the starting cost. In New Zealand, only a quarter of civilians are able to afford their own housing. These problems can all be boiled down to a few causes. One of the main causes of unaffordable housing in Hong Kong is the housing bubble, which is the exponential increase in prices due to high demand, lack of land availability, and speculation of the rising prices. Speculation is when the housing prices go up, and people think the market will continue to rise. Therefore, they buy into the market hoping that they can sell later at a higher price and earn money from it. An increase due to speculation is when people believe that the housing prices will continue to rise. Rising housing prices also creates fear that they will never be able to own housing, and many people will then start to invest in housing. This is driving up the prices even further due to mass investment, creating an endless cycle. Because when people see housing prices rise, they don't think it will fall anytime soon. Chinese people believe in owning a house instead of renting it, and families expect married couples to buy a house at marriage. So, they need a place to live and borrow a lot of money to buy the house, even if it's at a ridiculously high price. Expanding population in Hong Kong has been a prevalent problem because, coupled with the lack of land in the small city of Hong Kong, it has caused the demand of housing to surpass its supply. Not enough houses are built annually to cater to the massive demand that continues to grow. Also, the spectators who buy for investment are leaving their houses empty, so they limit the supply of rentable or saleable houses in the market too. Countries like New Zealand and Australia suffer from another problem, with foreign investors purchasing many foreign housing in other countries. Because of the relatively cheap prices of housing in those two countries, foreign, particularly Chinese investors, have been conducting mass investment, resulting in an exponential boom of prices. This has left the remaining housing unaffordable for the average citizen living in New Zealand and Australia, with 6 times more land being bought during the year 2016 in the former country. Housing prices in Hong Kong are currently still skyrocketing, and it looks like they won't be coming down any sooner. What's the problem with that though? That doesn't affect me, some people might say, but this problem affects everyone, as people who are relatively financially stable now will still suffer from the high prices in the future. Currently, an apartment with one bedroom in the city costs around 17,000 HKD a month. To put that in perspective, the average wage of Hong Kong is 13,000 HKD. To be able to survive, he would have to either borrow money or divide the apartment, and that's not inclusive of amenities such as water, gas, and electricity. After thinking for a long time, we've thought of a solution or two. The course of action doesn't seem clear, and it really isn't. But after exhausting our neurons and breaking a chair or two, we've managed to scavenge for some hope. Right now in Hong Kong, most of the land is owned by a few major corporate companies. The notable ones are the Henderson Land Department, Sino Land Company Limited, CK Asset Holdings Ltd, and Sun Hung Kai Properties. Chinese companies are investing in a lot of Hong Kong land, so much that the Hong Kong government's surplus is all from selling land to those people. Land which was previously used for agriculture is owned by them, namely, land that the government does not have. Needless to say, Hong Kong is now more invested in hydroponic, aeroponic agriculture, so those lands are currently not being used to their full potential. However, in order to use that agricultural land for building property, the landowners will have to pay a hefty sum to the government in order to permit its change of usage, as they will be able to earn money by selling the property. Unfortunately, this high sum racks up the price of the housing, as the land developers are forced to sell the houses at a very high cost. If the government were to agree with the land developers to lower the cost of changing the land usage, the developers would have to promise to sell the property at a low, affordable price to people who have not bought housing before and are earning low to average wage. This cooperation would possibly signal a large increase in available housing for Hong Kong citizens. And although the reclaiming of land faces opposition, it would, practically speaking, be the quickest way to build more housing for poor. Because Hong Kong needs more public housing, these public houses will need to include a requirement of no selling, to make sure that it will not be used as investment. Then and only then may Hong Kong have a chance to battle the issue of unaffordable housing.